Oh, okay.
And what is good, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Renegade Roundtable podcast here. I'm Jeffrey Kirby. As always, each and every week, we're joined by Jared. Jared, how in the hell are you?
We're doing good, all right. I'm a little bit better since we got somewhat of a quarterback, but we'll see what happens.
We'll get into that later. Yeah, obviously, first and foremost, before we get started, obviously I did it on the day of, but make sure, if you guys haven't yet, make sure to go wish Jared happy birthday. His birthday was earlier this week.
Yep.
So make sure y'all go and do that. But he ain't also the only birthday that got going on. He had his earlier this week. I got mine tomorrow. So this week is just the episode of the Renegade Roundtable birthdays.
Yep. It's that time of the year.
Another year older. Jared is going on 76 years old.
No, 27, if people were asking.
27 is the new 56.
That's crazy.
But I already got a couple comments here. We had one that came before the show even started. Shout out to Derpy. He says, well, we signed a quarterback.
Yep.
And then, I'm so fucking happy how this free agency is going. Well, we're going to get into it. And then here TJ says, we're kind of doing a 49ers staking talent on offense for a rookie to take over. Oh.
He's trying. I know what he's trying to go with.
We're going to have to discuss that because that means you're thinking one thing and I don't know.
Yeah, you know.
Holy shit.
That's crazy. Thanks,
That's
Derpy.
crazy.
Thanks, Derpy.
Wow. But yeah, we're gonna have to talk about that because what TJ is trying to talk about is thinking that the Steelers are gonna go after a quarterback in this draft class that will legitimately have that's gonna have a chance to start at some point, which let's be honest, in what the conversation about Shedeur Sanders, is he going to drop? Is he going to fall? People are trying to convince themselves about Jackson Dart in the first round. Those are conversations that have been made. And here's what I'm going to say about those real quick. Shedeur Sanders, I fully until proven otherwise, or until someone can convince me that it's not, Shedeur Sanders is not falling. Here's and why I feel comfortable with saying that. Number one,
agreed.
I don't see a team within the top 6 not getting a quarterback. And hell, if once you get past the 7, then I think that's quote unquote falling for Shedeur.
Yep.
Number 2, especially that number 2 overall pick. I think that Cleveland told Myles Garrett before he signs that extension their plans, and that their plans are going to end up being to get a young quarterback for the future. And they might get a veteran for this year. Russell Wilson was there today. He's gone. He's heading to New York. He's going to talk with the Giants. And that's another team at number 3. So there you go. So whether it's Shedeur or Cam Ward, I am fully convinced that the Browns are going to take a quarterback at number 2, and it's more than likely going to be, in my opinion, Shedeur, and whoever they don't take, the Giants are going to take. So I don't see that being the case. So number 2, the Jackson Dart conversation. Well, I have not looked at Jackson Dart because I don't see a scenario. I don't see a legitimate scenario that Jackson Dart goes into the first round. I think this is the same kind of conversation that was had a couple years ago with Malik Willis, and myself included. And this is where I think I'm trying to learn from this situation. I thought that Malik Willis had a legitimate shot of going in the first round, and he went, third round, fourth round, one of those two. So I don't see that being the case. Now, could Jackson Dart rise up into being a second round guy? Yeah, I could potentially see that, but I don't see a case where Jackson Dart is a first round quarterback. I just don't.
I'll I don't
we're
see it either.
a little over a month and a half until the draft. So there is time. Which, by the way, if you guys go follow Draft Nation, Real Draft Nation on Twitter. Little announcement coming tomorrow. But there's time between now and the drafts.
Yep.
Things can change. However, I don't see that being the case when it comes to Jackson.
So, I think it's just a lot of talk, just a headline type of deal. Especially with the national media, they're trying to push, that Jackson Dart. Some of them even saying to being quarterback number 2, which is kind of insane in my opinion. Which I don't see that happening at all. It's either Cam Ward going number 1, or I don't know, maybe Abdul Carter, but a lot of talk is going to be Cam Ward going to Tennessee now. I still believe that even with what was going on in terms of with the injuries with Tennessee, I still think they're going to end up going with Abdul Carter. And the reason why I say that is because when you look at their situation, they're not in a situation right now to take out a rookie quarterback that's going to put him at success to begin with or in the near future right now in this case. However, you go and get yourself a pass rusher, the elite pass rusher in this class, and that's another one of those premier positions. If you're going to go after someone really high, but you're not in a position to get a quarterback, then there you go. There's the other 2 positions that you go after, either a left tackle or an edge rusher. Well, you could get your edge rusher here who has potential to be very, very good. So then that's what you do. And then put yourself out next year. Because let's be honest, Tennessee's probably not going to be good next year or this coming up season. So they're going to have a high pick next year. Then they put themselves in the conversation, a legitimate piece in that conversation for who could be get a quarterback in next year's draft. Yep. No, exactly. But you know how it is. It's the national media trying to put headlines and
not only that, could it also be these agents trying to push things? Could it be GMs trying to push things to try and manipulate things? That right now, this whole conversation, it becomes the smokescreen season. It becomes a lot of bullshit chatter season. And that's what we're in right now. Until the draft actually happened and is gone, that's what we're going to hear a lot of stuff when it comes to this.
Mm-hmm. So that's right. A little bit over a month and a half. We'll find out here shortly.
Here we got a comment here. Dart Gun, Jackson Dart, or Joe Milton. I'm fine with either or. Okay, I gotta ask this question, everyone, and I need you to answer this. I need TJ to answer this. I need whoever the hell is watching this to answer this. What is the infatuation with Joe Milton?
I don't know. That's what I'm curious about too.
Like, I'm being serious. Like, I legitimately I want to know where this conversation, and here you go. So Derpy here says, where the heck did Joe Milton come from? This has been a conversation I've seen so many times, and even not from just Steeler fans. I've had my personal best friends who are Browns fans talk about Joe Milton. I'm just like, where the hell is this conversation coming from?
I think it just started somewhere on X and it just got spreaded. That's just how I see it.
There we go. So here, first and foremost, TJ said, Jared is scared. Grow some balls, you boomer. Dart or nothing.
Oh, we're talking about Joe Milton first. But
well, hold on. I got to defend you. I'm going to defend you real quick on what TJ just said. I'm going to put that comment here right back because he said, grow some balls, boomer, or you boomer, dart or nothing. Well, if you're going after him in this case, you're coming after me too, because I'm in the same boat that I do not want Jackson Dart in the first round. Let me say that. I will clarify that. If you were to somehow
first
fall
round,
into the third round and you get him, hey, you're not going to get an argument out of me because we don't have that second round pick no more. We'll get into that here in a minute. But Jackson Dart in the first round, I don't like that because there are more needs with this team. We've gotten a couple veteran corners. That still is a conversation. You've gotten your wide receiver now. As long as you keep George Pickens, at least for this year, you got two legitimate wide receivers. So the Emeka Ibuka conversation is out of the picture, which now that we've gotten a receiver, I'm fine with, and you're probably going to still get one in the mid to late round picks. Yeah. Let's not forget about Roman Wilson either. So you still got that. I think the defensive tackles become a real part into this. Well, Larry Ogunjobi is gone. So you got to add that into the conversation now. So guys like Kenneth Grant, guys like that, now they're going to be a part of the conversation. Before, when I heard people say the Steelers wanted, or Steelers fans say they wanted a defensive tackle, I'm like, no, let's handle the wide receiver first. We've gotten that. So now I can enter myself into that conversation. But Jackson Dart at 21, no, I'm sorry. I don't think there's a chance that you can convince me for that.
The couple of names I think to look out for at pick 21 that we talked about a little bit. I think it's going to be a defensive tackle with all these moves being going on. Like I said, Kenneth Grant, Derek Harmon, Walter Nolan is another name that look out for, the defensive tackle. If it's another position, I don't know what would it be. It can't be a receiver.
No,
can't be a corner.
It so very well could be a corner
because they're only on I think 1-year deals, if I'm not mistaken. For both corners. I
think not Darius Slade, but the other corner. I'm forgetting his name. I believe he's on a 2-year.
Eccles. Oh, Brent Eccles.
Okay. So he's on a 2-year deal, but he's. I'm saying like he's cheap. He's not going, but I still think a legitimate corner to go and pair up with Joey Porter Jr. I think that's another thing that I have because you can't have too many corners. Let's be honest here. No. Can't have too many corners. However, so you can add that into the conversation. I think right now.
I think those are the top two positions as of right now, in my opinion. I don't think receivers, as much as I want Emeka Ibuka added to this, it'd be awesome. It would be awesome, but it's just too many receivers after that.
All right. TJ here says Joe Milton is Justin Fields if he was a better passer.
Now, when we say this, what tape are we going off by? Did he play a game this season, or are we going off by his preseason?
He can't go off a preseason if he's going up against guys like me and Jared.
Because did he play a game? I'm sure he did. Maybe I don't know. I don't remember, but.
And then he says, I never said first. Yeah, but the way that you said it, when you say Joe Milton or nothing,
Jackson Dart,
Jackson Dart or nothing, that indicate the way that the wording, the verbiage comes out. I hear it as when you say or nothing, that means you're going to go and get him in the first.
And we haven't talked about it a little bit. We'll get into it, but next year's comp picks that we're going to have is going to be massive. I know it's still far ahead. I think we have 4 as of right now for next year, if I'm not mistaken. It's 4. Which in the next quarterback class, if needed, it's going to help.
Oh, here. Arch Manning, book it. Yeah, that's not happening.
I wish.
F it, Bruce Lee from the longest yard. 1-year deal of popcorn. I'll take it. But yeah, that whole conversation is going to take a lot to convince me on that. And then Joe Milton, I'll just be honest. Like I said, the conversation just recently started happening. I was like, huh?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that whole thing. But let's get into that DK trade because so that happened on Sunday, and I was at dinner. I was at dinner with some of my boys. We had just got done golfing, and we were – and that's when someone had texted me saying that we had gotten the deal or that the deal was done. And so I'm like, oh, shit. So, by the way here, so it became official from the Steelers. We have acquired DK Metcalf and a 2025 6th-round pick from Seattle for the 2025 second-round pick, 52nd overall, and a 7th-round pick. So they do a pick swap, a late-round pick swap, and then we give up our 2nd-round pick.
Okay.
Here, and he signed, what was it, a 5-year, $150 million deal or something like that?
That is correct.
So there you go. Two things with this trade. Number one, you see them trade for a big-time player.
You don't see that often. No, like, this is...
In the Kevin Colbert era, we rarely ever saw that.
That would never happen.
They did that. You had the opportunity to go and get a 27 years old?
Around there,
a 27-year-old wide receiver who was damn good.
Mm-hmm.
And number two, the money. We would have never saw Kevin Colbert do that. Omar Khan is becoming more modern with his ways of doing things. So that brings positivity into what we're seeing with this team. Because when the Steelers went and traded for Minkah Fitzpatrick, that was shocking in itself because it's like, wow, we actually did something big because we never do anything big. And now we're starting to do that. And that's becoming something I'm really liking to see. We have the negativity within the team about the whole the playoff drought, this and the third, blah, blah, blah. But I think if there's one inkling of positivity that we have to have is what Omar Khan has done since he's become the full-on general manager.
More aggressive, which is, making good, mostly good decisions. Everyone, Najee Harris departing is the last bit of the Kevin Colbert era type of deal. No more, all the picks from now on are on Omar Khan, basically. So we got Broderick Jones, Fatano. Hopefully they pan out pretty well.
And you know what, too? That Fatano pick right now kind of feels like a quote-unquote addition. We didn't get to see him at all last year, really. We didn't see him at all in the regular season last year. So he's a quote-unquote an addition to this team as well. So you add a very young tackle who's going to be on a first-round deal or on a rookie deal.
Yep. It's a good sign of change. Finally, now there's some more change needed to be done, I would say, but that's neither here or there. That we could talk about later in the future. But
here we got some more comments. TJ had asked, where were y'all when the DK trade happened? And by the way, Jay Dunks, I see your comment. We'll get to you here in 1 second. Where were y'all when the DK trade happened? And what was your immediate reaction?
I was eating dinner at my house, watching YouTube, and then I saw the notification. I screamed, and my mom thought somebody was dying. So I was like, no, we traded for a wide receiver.
Went from one extreme to the other. Guy, man.
So I was very shocked because I didn't think I genuinely did not think this was going to happen. I don't think a lot of people thought. I think DK was going to go somewhere else.
Derpy said that his reaction was above mine. He said that he was asleep and woke up to it after, and woke up to the ESPN alert after it happened. Like I said earlier, I was at dinner after a round of golf with some boys, and my boy Hunter, shout out to Hunter, he FaceTimed me, goes, congratulations. I was like, the hell you mean? He goes, you got to trade for DK. And sometimes I got to go, and because I feel like sometimes he's trying to troll me. And I looked and I saw it happen. I'm like, holy shit.
It's a good feeling. And you got you got two 1A, 1B, basically, receivers, which is huge.
And then we're going to get into another part of that conversation that needs to be had. However, J Duck's here. If I'm not mistaken, he might be a first-time commenter. Says, how do you think the running back room will be next year? Because Najee Harris is gone. However, you do make an addition with Kenneth Gainwell, who was with the Eagles last year.
Yep.
So what are your thoughts?
With Kenneth Gainwell and now Jaylen Warren in the running back room, it's pretty okay. I'm sure they're going to add one during the draft, I would say. Who I don't know who could there's a good running back class this draft, so any one of them I'll be okay with. But seeing the Najee contract with how much he got for a year, was it $9 million?
It was more of like $4 million or $4.5 million with incentives.
Incentives, it just kind of shocks me a little bit that I guess not really. The 5th-year option is what we could still gonna have him for another year if we wanted, but I'm okay with it. But they needed to add a running back this year in the draft. They got to get somebody as a running back 3. Cordell Patterson is. I think he's a free agent if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if he's still there.
He's a fossil.
Yeah. Want to talk about fossils? There you go.
Yeah, I was all right with the move. It's been kind of hard too, especially last year. You look at the stats and you're like, oh, but you got to remember he's behind Saquon Barkley. So, I mean, it's kind of hard to get carries when you got Saquon Barkley, especially with the way that he was hooping, the way he did last year. But overall, ironically, his birthday's tomorrow.
Oh, look at that.
And we're the same age. So let's go. So we were born on the same literal day. I like you a lot more now. I'm gonna change everything. He's gonna go off for us this year.
Hey, I hope so.
Yeah, I hope so. But no, I think he's gonna be a good pick. And then Jaylen Warren is Jaylen Warren. We've seen what he's been able to do. Maybe we'll be able to see him in a little bit larger role. But I agree. Sure. I still want to see this team go after a running back, probably in the 3rd or 4th round. Yeah. You'll be able to get someone that's going to be good.
We're not drafting one in round 1. Please get that off everyone's minds. We're not getting Ashton Genty or the UNC running back.
We have a certain someone that we know in a group chat that we're in is starting to push for that Ashton Genty thing. Or like,
no. Give me a defensive tackle. Or give me a corner round 1 is what I want. That's who I prefer.
Give me Jalen Milroe. I'm just kidding.
No. I'd be flipping a table if Jalen Milroe got drafted 1st round.
Yeah, I would not be happy. I would not be happy at all. TJ here says it's going to be a man point, especially with Kyle Juice. I call him Juicy Juice, meeting with us. Well, I mean, that doesn't do anything for me. I think that position's extinct. I could really care less about it. We have 75,000 tight ends. We'll use one of them as a fullback.
Yeah, pretty much.
I am now getting called the Feds.
Oh,
well, that's nice. For those that don't know, I work for my local county sheriff's office. So there you go. I'm a Fed now. And it says, I think we need a running back duo like Detroit to go along with DK and George Pickens and Freiermuth. And wouldn't be mad at that at all.
Like I said, there's some good names in this running back class in the middle rounds. I'm just gonna shout out my guy RJ Harvey from UCF. I would love to have him on the team. Great running back. I'm telling you, I'm watching him. Great running back. I like his play style a lot.
Who?
Yeah. Of course, he's gonna say who.
Here, how about Travion Henderson? I'll raise you one Travion Henderson or Quinshawn Judkins. How about that?
Yeah, I knew that was coming. I just want to try something, man.
Yeah, you failed.
Yeah, I know.
Like speaking of failed, you know what was the best thing that's happened this whole week?
What's that?
Certain quarterback getting traded to a certain team. If y'all don't know, if you've been living under a rock, our old best friend Kenneth Jade Pickett got traded to the Cleveland Browns to go along with Devin Bush, who re-signed there as well.
What goes around comes around. Wow.
Yeah.
And they tried to get Russ.
So they're really just they should have just went and signed Mason. Imagine Mason Rudolph and Myles Garrett in that same that would have been fun. Right. But if their quarterback room would have been Russell Wilson, Mason Rudolph, and Kenny Pickett.
Oh my gosh! But yeah, Mason Rudolph, welcome back to the team, as we should say. Welcome back to the team. 2-year deal. He's our QB1 as of right now, until further notice.
You want to keep laughing?
Yeah. Oh my god.
That takes him 4 games to do. That takes him 6 games to get that stat line. It takes him 6 games. It takes him 1/3 of a year to get that stat line.
Oh
Come
my
on.
gosh. Oh,
Come
man.
on.
That was funny. Wow. So are you guys, are they assuming, well, Kenny's not going to start. It's going to be Shador or Cam Ward, whoever's there at number 2.
Yeah. Yeah. I was getting ready to leave. I was sitting right here where I'm sitting at right now, getting ready to leave, and I cackled. Absolutely cackled. But that's not here nor there. Oh, here we go. We're just going to get right into it, I guess, right now. I really don't want Rodgers, so let's get on with this conversation. So,
here we go.
At this point of time, in terms of where the Steelers are, in terms of the immediate future, in the immediate future, I think that he would be the best option. That's realistic. Because Kirk Cousins, I'm not a fan of that. Plus, I do truly think that he's going to end up being a Cleveland Brown. I think what's going to end up happening with them realistically is that they're going to go after Kirk Cousins for a year. Then they're going to draft a quarterback, let them sit behind Kirk Cousins, and then he'll be the backup. And then Kenny Pickett will just be the emergency third quarterback. That's legitimately what I think is going to end up happening. You got who else is out there?
Because if they wanted Russ, they would have signed Russ already.
Exactly.
In my eyes, and I'm sure everyone would have saw it. If the Steelers wanted Russell Wilson, he would have been signed already. After Justin Fields got signed to the Jets, Russell Wilson would have been signed immediately. And it's March 13th. Russell Wilson is still a free agent.
He's going to New York, or if not, he's already in New York.
So, as much as I hate to say it, I'm talking about on the football field, Aaron Rodgers is your best option.
When you have multiple mouths to feed,
yep,
and you now have that legitimately, because you have DK, you have George Pickens, you got Pat Freiermuth, you got guys like that. Let's not forget Roman Wilson either. So when you got mouths to feed, out of the players that are currently available that are realistic, he's probably your best case scenario.
And then everyone's talking about contract wise. Oh, it's about the money. It was about this. Well, apparently there's an offer that's been out there. I think it's everything. We're just waiting on Aaron Rodgers. That's just how it is. I think he's still deciding if he wants to play or retire. Maybe that's the I don't know.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario, you have him for a year. What, we do bad? We're in the top 10. Get a quarterback. And best case scenario, he does really well. Hopefully wins us a playoff game. Gets us.
Bless me.
And don't forget about, like I talked about earlier, the comp picks. They're going to be very useful next year.
Absolutely, they will be. And I just think overall, now we've gotten comments like this from TJ just to say fuck Aaron Rodgers, and that hope he retires and is got some ayahuasca.
Yep.
Ayahuasca. I don't care about him. Sorry, just tired of Rodgers. Well,
everyone hates how he is as a person. I get that. A
lot of that has to do with political too.
But
there's certain people that we know that do not like him just strictly because of politics.
And I totally get that. I'm talking about on the football field, nothing, no outside noise. I'm talking about on the football field. He is your best option right now.
You know what's crazy is you look at things. He threw for 3,800 yards last year. He almost threw for 3,900 yards last year. 28 touchdowns, 11 picks. The Olympics, that's very uncharacteristic of him. But overall, he's thrown for damn near. He was top 10 in passing last year in passing yards.
He started getting better towards the end of the year with the Jets, but it was too late by then. But as he is the best option. If we would have wanted Russell Wilson would have been signed. That's just my argument. You can hate Rodgers all you want, and for all these people saying, "Oh, I'm not going to watch the Steelers," blah 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 blah. If Rodgers,
go ahead, bye bye.
Go. I don't care. I don't believe you either way. You will be watching. Like, come on.
They're the same people that bitched about Colin Kaepernick back in 2016, saying they're never watching the NFL again. You see where the hell that's going.
Yeah, exactly. So let's calm down. It's only for 1 year, 2 years at most with Rodgers, if it happens. Because here's my thing. I think it's 1 year with Rodgers, and we got to get a quarterback in next year's draft. That's where my mindset is right now. Next year's we're going to get a quarterback next year. Who? I don't know. I don't know who.
Apparently, Kenny Pickett's revenge tour will solve world hunger.
No. I don't think it will, unfortunately.
I think that's just going to make everyone even more hungry. I hate that he is the best option, but the goal from the coaching staff was to get more mobile and younger at the position a couple years ago.
Well, if they wanted to do that,
they had the chance.
They had the chance with Justin Fields, and they weren't going to pay him $20 million a year. They weren't. You saw what he got from the Jets. Well, it was like 2 years, 40, 50 million. Steelers weren't going to pay that.
Yeah, they had their chance. They didn't get it. So,
and I'm just, it's just a little frustrating with some of these fans that
it was a 2-year deal worth $40 million with $30 million guaranteed.
$30 million guaranteed.
So there you go.
Yeah, they weren't going to pay that. They weren't going to pay that at all. Rather use that money somewhere else.
Got a very interesting question here. JD Vance versus Tim Walls in a 40-yard dash. Who wins? Well, let's see. We have someone who was former in the military.
Yep.
And a goofball. Yeah, I'll take JD Vance. And that's not political either. That's just off pure athleticism and age.
Yep.
And age. But yeah, the whole quarterback situation is it what we want it to be right now? No. But we put ourselves in the situation where we had the chance to get a younger quarterback. We did it. So now we have to go with what's best. And also, there's been conversations that if Aaron Rodgers were to become the quarterback, would probably be the best chance that we have of winning our first playoff game. Which, I mean, that could be here nor there. I don't know. Yep. Could he go back under this offense? How's he going to look in this offense too? That's another thing too. Are they going to want to go with more run heavy? Are they going to want to go with? Are they going to actually open it up a little bit? Those are questions that have to be asked when you're talking about what you're going to do at quarterback this year.
Yeah, and people act like it's the end of the world if we got him. Like, I get it. I don't like it either, but you got to think about it. It's only a year, 2 years at worst, 2 years.
I would rather have a player in the system already in a full healthy start the year over a better thrower of the ball, older and way slower.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but they didn't want to pay Justin Fields whatever he wanted. That's how it is. And to be honest with Justin Fields, he didn't play as great. You can't really throw the deep ball. You can't. He throws it in a straight line deep ball, not like a moon ball like Russell Wilson does.
Everything is hardened on a line.
Yeah. Unless he somehow magically in the offseason can throw a moonball.
And it doesn't necessarily have to be like a moon ball the way that Russell Wilson throws it, but just be able to throw it with a little bit of finesse to be able to throw in the breadbasket and not make everything harden on a line.
Because every deep ball you've seen for Justin Fields is hard, on the line. It's either overthrown or the receiver works for it.
Yeah, I agree. And then apparently Shedeur flashing his bust down AP to the dog pound after smacking the Steelers is going to be insane. He don't even believe that. I know him. He doesn't even believe that.
I wish.
Actually, you know what? His Delulu ass self, he probably does.
I wish Shedeur good looking if he goes to Cleveland, because my goodness.
You know how I feel about Cam Ward. You know how I feel about him.
Yeah.
I want him to go to Cleveland.
I know you do. Cleveland has a lot more issues than I would say than we got going on right now. Like they got some O-line they got to work about. They got some their defense. They're okay. Yeah, they got Myles Garrett back. I wonder what you told him what the plan was.
$40 million. That's all they had to say.
$40 million. I would. That would be me too. Give me $40 million. I'll stay. I'm not leaving.
Yeah, I was never impressed with Justin's throwing ability, but it's a year to waste of TJ and Cam as well, though. Yeah, but the thing is, though, is if you're saying that you're not impressed with Justin Fields as a thrower when that's the most important part of things, then that kind of contradicts yourself in terms of who he is. Because we look at some of the rushing quarterbacks. I mean, the first one we obviously talk about is Lamar, but Lamar's been able to improve as a passer as well. So he actually has that ability. I mean, look, guys like Kyler Murray, he could throw on. He could run as well, but he has the throwing ability. You got to think, if you're saying that you're not impressed with Justin's throwing ability when that's supposed to be important position part of things, then at that point you just have a glorified running back.
Yep. Exactly. It is what it is. Whatever happens, happens. If we're running with Mason this year, cool. It is what it is. Guess what? If Mason's the starting quarterback, I don't know. The defense is still good. It's a week-by-week basis with Mason Rudolph. That's how it's going to be.
Yeah. I would rather have Russ over busting, but would rather have Justin over Russ is what I meant. Go ahead.
I agree. I'm not disagreeing, but if like I said a little bit earlier, if the Steelers wanted to have Russ after Justin got signed, they would have gotten it. The problem with Russ is he ended on a bad taste. Lost us 5 straight games. 5 straight games. What, would you want to have him back after losing 5 straight games?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not all of his fault. The defense didn't do their job as well. They couldn't stop the Ravens on offense, but
the whole team was just awful those 5 games. The play calling was horrible. The execution was horrible. The defense was horrible. It was all bad.
Like it was all bad, but Russ was a majority part. I remember that second quarter it was tied, and Russell Wilson fumbled the ball on the goal line. That's what changed right there.
Kind of drained any bit of hope that you had
out the window.
Out the window. Jared wants to know how's your job going.
It's going good. Working a lot more.
And then he also just wants to remind us that Chris Paul, Logan Paul, Jake Paul, Lakers of 5.
But
NBA, UFC, USA, Lakers of 5.
Oh man, that's the best thing that Shannon Sharp does, man. Oh no. But I understand no one wants Aaron Rodgers. I get it. Do I want him? No. Jeff doesn't want him. No. But he's our best option. That's just the end. That's the end of the story right there.
Yeah. I think offensively we needed to open it up more. And see, and with that, when I say that the whole thing was bad, talk about on the offensive end, yes, that was part of it. They were very stuck in the mud and wanting to run the football when teams knew that, and that they weren't adjusting to. They were running the ball with 7 and 8 in the box. I mean, there's not much that you can do with that. There wasn't much that you could do with that. But at the same time, there were times that without even George Pickens, Van Jefferson at one point in time was your number one wide receiver.
Yep.
So it's kind of hard to open things up in the pass game when that's the case. And even then, when no one else fears any wide receiver outside of George Pickens, it's hard to do things as well. That's where something like this year is going to open things up more. And one more thing, I don't remember if I've said this about Aaron Rodgers yet. Out of the quarterbacks that are available, when you have multiple mouths to feed, he's going to be probably your best option in terms of being able to feed those guys.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I 100% agree. And he likes to throw the ball in the middle of the field. The floor is lava for us.
Speaking of lava, he wants to know, how about the Magic?
And I don't really want to talk about them right now. It's unfortunate.
The Magic?
It's unfortunate with the way things are going right now, but
I couldn't hear you guys all the way down there at 30 and 36.
Yeah. It's been rough.
30 wins. Cavs got that 3 months ago.
Yeah. I know.
36 losses. It will take us 2.5 seasons to get that. At this rate.
It's all right.
Wait, Jeff, can you quickly remind me how the Cavs are doing? I absolutely can do that. As of now, there is one team in the Eastern Conference that has a playoff berth. That would be the Cleveland Cavaliers. They have the most wins in the NBA at 55. They have, looks like, let me look at that. Oh, the least amount of losses at 10. So when you combine that with a 55-10 record with a 30-4 at home record and 25-6 on the road, yeah.
Man, I can't wait for the playoffs talk. I hope you guys lose now.
And by the way, this team has had 2 15-win streaks in the season. That is outrageous.
Yeah, I know. Congratulations. Well, let's see when the playoffs talk to see how you guys make it far.
Well, we've whooped on Boston already in the regular season. We've whooped on the Knicks. We've whooped on we've whooped on Milwaukee. We whooped on them all.
Listen, the playoffs are different, man, when they come around. That's a different type. You know how it is.
Oh, wait. So 55-10 with 2 separate 15-game win streaks are good? Yeah.
Well, when did this start? When did this become Cleveland talk? I don't think this is Cleveland talk, if I think here.
This is our weekly segment of Fuck the Magic.
All right.
I had to do it. Other than that, is there anything else that you want to get into before?
We haven't really talked about the defense. They signed Malik Harrison.
Yep. From the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Fortunately, former Raven players. He'll be, came for the Ravens, another Raven player on our team. And then
that's fine. Take good players away from them.
Darius Slay, welcome to the team officially today as well. And Brandon Eccles is the other one. That's what we talked about a little bit earlier. I would like for them to sign a defensive tackle if they can. That's what the draft is for if they don't sign one, but there's still a couple names out there. They got Ben Skoranek, Scotty Miller's back.
Nobody's.
Nobody's, but special teams are important. They're special teamers.
Chris Paul, Jake Paul, Logan Paul. Steelers in one.
Steelers in one.
But
some good signings all around, other than the major DK signing, and now we finally somewhat got a quarterback with Mason Rudolph. We're just waiting to see if we're going to get Aaron Rodgers or not. We'll see. As the days go on, I keep thinking to myself, what if there's a crazy NBA, like an NBA NFL trade? You know what I'm talking, like a Luka type of trade. It's never going to happen, but you never know. And now in these days in business, but I could dream.
Well, keep dreaming. Just like you keep dreaming about the Magic and their championship aspect.
Oh, it will be.
That's gonna be a long time. I think I'll have a girlfriend before that happens.
Oh.
I think I'll become 6'5", 245 pounds before.
All right, yeah, right.
Other than that, in terms of defensive tackles, at this point, if you're gonna go after someone in the draft, just make it Kenneth Grant. Give me Derek Carmen. I think that's when the value on him will start. Is about 21 all the way down. Walter Nolan, I think there's questions about him in terms of character, but we all know Steelers don't care too much about character, so there you go. But he's still a hell of a football player too. So those are guys that are going to be available because obviously Mason Graham's going to be gone. That's about it.
Would love to have Mason Graham. But yeah, if it's not a defensive tackle, then a corner. We'll see. We'll talk about a draft next week, I'm sure. But
Will Johnson, you are a Pittsburgh Steeler.
I would love to have Will Johnson as a Steeler. Him or Jahdae Barron's, another one out there from Texas. It'd be a good one. I'm sure we talked about it. We could officially cross off a wide receiver round one.
Yeah.
As much as I really wanted Ibuka, that's the guy I was really hoping for. But we got DK.
We wanted him because we need that position filled. That position got filled.
We did. And I'm very happy they did something about it.
Oh, yeah. Other than that, I think that's probably about it for this week. I'll be honest, we usually do a mock draft this week in terms of looking at one. I'll be very blunt and honest with you guys. The way that work has gone this week, I have not had a chance to really sit down and make a whole list of where everyone's going. So I don't want to make myself sound like a jackass. I don't want to make Jared sound like a jackass because I know he gets very busy as well. And I know his birthday is this week, so he's celebrating. So be very blunt with you guys. That's why we're not doing one this week, but hopefully next week we'll get back into looking at them. We do one every week. We'll kind of monitor, see how guys are thinking, and that's about it.
As it gets closer, we'll find out with most teams of what they are going to go for pretty much here. Because free agency is still going on. It's still early in the process. Like I said, the new league year just started yesterday at 4 p.m., so it's only day 2, and some things can change.
Oh, yeah. But, yeah, that's about it probably for this week. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys did, smash that like button, hit the red subscribe button, drop a comment. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, make sure to go and follow both of us on there. I'm there. He's there. Make sure to go and wish Jared late happy birthday. Y'all go ahead and start wishing me happy birthday. And if you're on my Facebook, well, then was good, everyone. But until then, hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe. Have fun. Be safe if you guys are going to go drinking on St. Patrick's Day. Do not drink and drive. Make sure you are using a ride share service or make sure you have someone that's going to be sober driving. We don't want to see any of you guys get hurt or get a DUI. Uber is going to be a lot cheaper than a DUI or a death. So we don't want to see any of that. So make sure you guys are safe. J-Dunk says, great show. Y'all, happy birthday, y'all. Appreciate it. But yeah, until then, hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe. Have fun.
Fuck the Magic, fuck UCF, fuck Michigan, and fuck the Yankees.
Okay.
Lakers in 5.
Like.
Have a great weekend, y'all. Have fun. Peace out.